Yes, guys, we are back once again talking about that beautiful, iconic thing of Star Trek, the original series. And guys, if you're worried that I haven't been doing videos on Star Trek in a while, I got sidetracked. I admit, there were so many other things to talk about that what was a girl to do but confront this reality, and I couldn't help myself. So yes, we're now talking about Star Trek, the original series, once more, where I'm going from the beginning of Season 1 to the end of Season 1, then afterwards, I'm going to be doing a ranking of all of the episodes from the original series of Season 1 and 3. Well, 1 through 3. I should correct that, Series 1 through 3. Yes, but as you all know, if you've been watching, my last reviewed episode was Dagger of the Mind. Now we're going to the next one. And actually, I kind of lied in my title for this. It says the Menagerie, but actually we're going for 3 episodes in this one review, because we're going to do first the Korbinite maneuver, then we're going to be doing the discussion of the Menagerie part 1 and part 2. Why? Because I'm a little behind doing these videos, so I'm going to be doing 2 episodes or 2 stories at one time in each video so I can catch up on all the times I did not do a week of Star Trek. So yes, now we've got that settled. So yes, we're going to be talking about first the Korbinite maneuver. I believe it was written by Jerry Soule, and forgive me if I mispronounced that last name. But also, from what I heard, because this aired in 1966, yes. So from what I've heard, is this was the second episode, or the first story that was produced after the first 2 pilots. Which would make sense, because we see Uhura have one color outfit, but after this we see, before and after this, we see Uhura always have a red outfit, which now it all makes sense, because she was given a different color for the rest of the show. Either way, so yes, because this is the second episode that was probably produced, it explains so much. This is the first time we get DeForest Kelley as the Doctor. In the first 2 pilots, we had different actors playing the Doctor, but then DeForest Kelley came on to play, of course, Dr. McCoy. But also we get Uhura as well in this, and again with a different outfit than she usually would have, as we see later on in the show when it comes to the color. So yes, this makes sense why I could see why this was the second or first produced story after the first 2 pilots. Either way, with the Korbinite maneuver, the plot is, okay, Captain Kirk, yes, Captain Kirk, he is exercising in the, medical lab because Dr. McCoy is making sure he's still very healthy. As a result, Spock is the one on the bridge who is commanding everyone and looking after everyone. And what happens? On the screen we have, literally, right there in front of the window, there is a cube of 3 different colors completely spinning in front of them. And every time Spock has them try to go around this cube, the cube stays in their way and it literally obstructs their direction. It literally obstructs their path. They cannot move because of this. They try and go backwards, but this thing continues to follow them. They even go into warp and it continues to follow them. And eventually they have to destroy it because it is dangerous. It's leaking radiation. Now, here's what happens. Captain Kirk, after he gets summoned away from the medical lab, walking around sweaty with his shirt off. Oh my god. Sorry guys, I'm a girl, okay? You know what? What can you do with me? What can you do? He goes, of course, to the bridge, and eventually, after the buoy gets destroyed, they get intercepted, or they get, yes, met up with a super large ship that is like 10 times the size of the Enterprise. I mean, this ship is impressive. And this ship says, because you destroyed our buoy, we will now destroy you. You have time, we'll give you a few minutes to make peace with your god. And this is where we see Captain Kirk be an incredible tactician, because when Dr. McCoy is beginning to nag Kirk about the fact that he promoted one of the officers who was on the con too soon, this officer freaked out when he realized that they were about to be destroyed. And so he's like, you guys are all standing around doing nothing. What are you, bunch of robots? So eventually he gets relieved, and Dr. McCoy says, I told you you promoted him too soon. And they have a brief argument, but what does Kirk do? He uses that situation to rise above what's happening and figure out the problem or how to solve the problem. What does he do? He bluffs. Not chess, he says to Mr. Spock. Poker. and he bluffs. He says to this invading force, he says, or to this, opposing ship, that the Enterprise, and this is where he lied, but the Enterprise was filled or was covered with a certain substance called Korbinite. And if they destroy the Enterprise, this Korbinite will be activated, destroy their ship, and also make this space around them inhabitable for a few years, or unable to be people come to this place for a few years. Sorry if I phrased that really incorrectly. Yes, but either way, his bluff works, and it shows how really good of a captain Captain Kirk is. Very good, because here's this little stereotype that's always put onto Captain Kirk, where he gets everything due to his looks because he's very handsome, but in reality he's actually a very intelligent captain who's very insightful and very good at deductive and inductive reasoning. And eventually they do meet up with the person who's running the ship, and it turns out this was all a fake threat. The person on the ship, actually the person who was literally controlling this huge vessel, was this small individual, and he actually wanted to meet with them to discover new things about their civilization, but he realized he was not intimidating, so he did it in the only way he knew how. So the whole time there was no actual threat. I absolutely like this episode, but I don't really hear many people talk about the Korbinite maneuver. So guys, what do you think of the Korbinite maneuver? Because I like it, but I don't hear many people talk about it. Next we have up is the Menagerie. Comes directly afterwards, and this is where we get the idea of recycling can really help. Why? Here's the history behind the Menagerie. Those people who know that the Menagerie, where it sprung from, here's why. Because at this point in the show, they had run out of scripts. There were no more scripts written, and it'd be a while before another script finally came in. So they went to Gene Roddenberry and said, Gene, we need you to come up with something because we're out of scripts. So Gene Roddenberry took the original pilot of The Cage, where you had Captain Pike as the main person, and he took that and he turned it into a trial sequence. How did he do this? Well, here's the plot, where Spock receives a transmission from Starfleet saying that the Enterprise has to return back to Starfleet for reasons, and that Captain Pike was the one who ordered them to come. They get there, Captain Kirk finds out very quickly, actually no order was sent to the Enterprise to come back to headquarters, and especially could not have been Captain Pike, because Captain Pike was injured and completely infirm due to an accident that happened when he was on his ship, and something happened where there was an explosion, and Captain Pike tried to save as many people as he could, but got badly damaged in the process. So bad, he has scars on the side of his face, and he is non-functional. He is literally trapped in a chair, where the only thing he can do to communicate with people is have a light go on and off to indicate when he says yes to things and when he says no to things. He is in living hell, literally. Captain Pike is in living hell. Commander Spock, Spock, first officer, Vulcan, I will never tell a lie because Vulcans do not tell lies. Spock did genuinely kind of lie to Captain Kirk, got there so he could take Captain Pike to this planet from The Cage, a planet where the aliens have such incredible mental powers they can make you relive any mirage, any ideal that's in your brain, any dream you've ever had, they can make it come true. So they can make Captain Pike believe he still looks perfectly fine, still tall, still handsome, still sexy, Jeffrey Hunter, sexy, and living a life of bliss, because they're a planet that rely heavily on dreams. And so eventually Captain Kirk catches up, or in some ways he takes a ship to chase the Enterprise. Commander Spock discovers, oh crap, his ship is going to be out of fuel unless we go back and get them. And then Spock goes and gets Kirk, brings him aboard the Enterprise, where a trial occurs, showing if Spock is guilty or not guilty of treason, of sabotage, or of, piloting a ship when he was not given authorization. But it turns out, spoiler alert, That the trial was a complete mock-up. It was not a real trial. It was just there to give Captain Kirk assurance that they were following everything by the book. But it turns out eventually they were given full permission for Spock to take the Captain Pike to this planet where he could live out his life in a mirage or in a lot of dreams instead of being in the living hell he was in. So we have Spock. It's showing true loyalty to the previous captain, but at the same time it really sheds a whole different light on Spock. He's not this cold person who doesn't feel anything. He does, like Vulcans, he is capable of deep emotion, he just suppresses it. But when the emotion comes out, when it really is there, Spock feels more deeply than probably anyone else. And he did everything to get Captain Pike there, even at the expense of possibly hurting his friend in the, Kirk, who he also has a deep love for. Very touching. Very touching. The Menagerie is an iconic episode in the original Star Trek show. People love it to this very day. So do I. I think it's very creative, taking the pilot and using it for flashbacks and as a trial situation. That is a very good way of recycling, and I liked it a lot. I liked it very, very much. Of course, as we know, the woman from the cage, she also was heavily involved in this as well, because she was in the flashbacks also. Either way, again, very, very good idea of recycling an original concept. So guys, this is my review on the Korbinite maneuver, as well as the Menagerie Part 1 and Part 2. Have you guys seen either of these episodes? If not, I hope you do. If you have, comment below if you wish to let me know what you think about them. Either way, guys, thank you so much, and we'll be back next week, I believe, for The Conscience of the King, as well as, if memory serves me correctly, Balance of Terror. Unless I got my episodes completely mixed up there. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you guys again very soon. Peace out, guys.